Most people hear the word crossbow and picture a full-size hunting rig slung over someone's shoulder. What they don't picture is something small enough to fit in a backpack, fast enough to launch a bolt in the blink of an eye, and powerful enough to make you completely rethink what a compact crossbow is capable of. The truth is, some of the most surprising designs on Amazon aren't the biggest or the most expensive. They're the tiny machines that pack an unbelievable amount of engineering into a remarkably small package. Some are built for speed, some focus on accuracy, and a few push the limits of what most people think a mini crossbow can do. But here's the interesting part. The specifications printed on the box rarely tell the whole story. Today we're counting down the most deadly mini crossbows available on Amazon, breaking down the real-world performance, the engineering behind them, and the details most buyers never discover until after they've already spent their money. Stick around because the one sitting at number 1 makes the rest of the list look far less impressive than you might expect. We start with the Steambow AR6 Stinger II, the lowest powered model on this list. Steambow is an Austrian company, and they do something almost nobody else in this category does. They publish the actual energy figures complete with the bolt weight and test conditions used to get them. The AR6 Stinger Compact, equipped with its 35-pound close-quarters limb, is rated at up to 150 feet per second and 7 foot-pounds of energy. Step up to the tactical version with the optional 90-pound pro limbs and 142-grain arrow, and that jumps to as much as 220 feet per second and 15.2 foot-pounds. Those aren't huge numbers, and that's exactly why I trust them. Most companies are happy to advertise speed. Far fewer are willing to publish energy figures that let you see the whole picture. Usually selling anywhere from $250 to $500 depending on configuration, the Stinger earns its place through design rather than raw power. This is a true magazine-fed repeater with a 6-arrow capacity, and the tactical model's integrated cocking lever lets you send follow-up shots surprisingly fast. In practiced hands, you can empty the magazine in just a few seconds. The platform weighs roughly 2.5 pounds, the compact version measures less than 22 inches long, and the entire system is highly modular with rails for optics and accessories. Coming in at number 7 is the EK Archery Vlad. The Vlad is EK Archery's compact magazine-fed crossbow developed in collaboration with Jörg Sprav, a name that's practically synonymous with projectile launching machines. It's named after Vlad the Impaler, which tells you EK Archery knows exactly who this product is aimed at. Manufacturer specs are straightforward. It ships with 2 interchangeable limbs rated at 60 and 90 pounds, a 5.5-inch power stroke, an overall length of 25.6 inches, and a weight of about 4.1 pounds. With the 90-pound limb installed, EK rates it at up to 215 feet per second using a 155-grain bolt. That works out to roughly 15.9 foot-pounds of energy. Swap to the 60-pound limb, and velocity drops to around 165 feet per second, or about 9.5 foot-pounds. But the reason people buy the Vlad isn't the energy, it's the system. The crossbow feeds from an 8-bolt magazine, uses an integrated cocking lever for rapid follow-up shots, and includes a folding stock that makes the entire platform surprisingly compact when stored. Folded down, it takes up little space in a pack. Unfolded, it behaves more like a miniature repeating crossbow than a traditional pistol model. EK also includes Picatinny rails for optics and accessories, and depending on configuration, the Vlad typically sells in the $250 to $400 range. At number 6 is the EK Archery Cobra R9, the crossbow from the intro and the perfect example of why this entire list exists. Straight from EK Archery's own specifications, a 90-pound draw weight, 220 feet per second with a 165-grain bolt, a 7.5-inch power stroke, an overall length of 21.5 inches, and a weight of 4.4 pounds. Run the numbers and the Cobra R9 produces roughly 17.5 foot-pounds of energy, which as promised puts it surprisingly close to some entry-level youth crossbows despite looking far more aggressive. Now here's your first lesson in reading crossbow listings critically. EK's own website rates the R9 at 220 feet per second. Start shopping around and you'll find retailers advertising the exact same crossbow at 240. Same product, same limbs, 20 feet per second of difference. What the R9 does well, it does exceptionally well. The underlever cocking system dramatically reduces the effort required to draw the string, turning a 90-pound limb into something you can comfortably shoot all afternoon. With a 6-bolt quick-load magazine, tool-free takedown design, accessory rails, and a price of around $180 to $250, it feels more like a compact tactical platform than a traditional pistol crossbow. Coming in at number 5 is the EK Archery Revo 7, EK's newest generation magazine crossbow and a major evolution of the Vlad, with Jurg Sprav's influence written all over the design. Here's where EK actually earned some trust, because for the Revo 7 they publish energy figures directly. The manufacturer rates the 90-pound limb at 240 feet per second, producing 24.6 joules of energy, while the 120-pound limb reaches 255 feet per second and 27.8 joules. Convert those figures and you're looking at roughly 18 foot-pounds with the standard 90-pound limb and about 20.5 foot-pounds with the 120-pound setup. The quick change limb system covers everything from 30 pounds all the way up to 120, giving the platform a much wider performance range than most compact crossbows. Two features separate the Revo 7 from the older generation. First are the redesigned 5.5mm carbon bolts, which fly noticeably flatter than traditional pistol crossbow bolts and provide a genuine accuracy advantage. Second is the pivoting front lever cocking system, which allows you to keep the crossbow shouldered and your eyes closer to the target instead of breaking the platform open between shots. With a 7-bolt magazine, optional 12-round capacity, AR-style adjustable stock, Picatinny rails, and a price ranging from $300 to $500, the Revo 7 feels less like a traditional pistol crossbow and more like a purpose-built repeating platform. At number 4 is the WT Mini Striker, the point where the numbers start getting bigger, the claims start getting louder, and the line between performance and hype begins to blur. This is a compact compound pistol crossbow from William Tell Archery, and on paper it's one of the most aggressive designs here. The manufacturer lists a 125-pound draw weight, a 7-inch power stroke, speeds of up to 330 feet per second with lighter bolts, a weight of just 2.46 pounds, and a width of only 5 inches when cocked. One feature genuinely deserves credit: the integrated crank system. Thanks to a 3-to-1 mechanical advantage, cocking effort drops to roughly 40 pounds. That's smart engineering because it turns a 125-pound limb into something most people can shoot repeatedly without wearing themselves out. The Mini Striker also feeds from a 6-bolt magazine, accepts optics through its Picatinny rail system, and typically sells in the $250 to $400 range, depending on configuration. Here's where you need to put your critical reading hat back on. William Tell lists kinetic energy at 25.25 foot-pounds, which would place it near the top of this entire list. The problem is that the published energy figure isn't paired with a specific bolt weight, and the advertised velocity varies depending on where you look. Some listings say up to 300 feet per second, others say up to 330. Coming in at number 3 is the FMA Supersonic REV. If there's a crossbow on this list built around one giant number, it's this one. The FMA Supersonic REV from Expo FMA is a reverse limb compound pistol crossbow, and the marketing doesn't exactly whisper. FMA calls it the world's most powerful recreational crossbow pistol, pairing a 120-pound draw weight with claimed bolt speeds of up to 420 feet per second. The platform is remarkably compact, roughly 5 inches wide when cocked, about 22 inches long, and around 2.5 pounds in weight. It uses a reverse limb compound system, a power stroke of roughly 7 inches, and an integrated lever cocking mechanism that keeps draw effort down to around 20 pounds, despite the much heavier limb load. The engineering underneath is legitimate. Reverse limbs increase the string's travel distance, and a longer power stroke is exactly how you extract more velocity from a compact frame. With a 6-shot detachable magazine, proprietary supersonic carbon bolts, and a price ranging from $350 to $600, the Rev delivers rapid follow-up shots in a compact package built for speed. Coming in at number 2 is the Ballista BAT Reverse. Ballista is transparent about the mechanical picture in a way the FMA isn't. Their spec lists a 150-pound limb, a 50-pound effective draw thanks to the self-retracting cocking rope, an 8.25-inch power stroke, a 16-inch length, and a 3-pound weight. The reverse draw limb design is what stretches that power stroke, and at 8.25 inches, that's the longest runway of any pistol crossbow on this entire list, which is a real, meaningful advantage, not a slogan. But the same speed claim problem rears up. Ballista markets it at up to 420 feet per second. Meanwhile, the big box listings, Walmart and Amazon, put the very same crossbow at 340. That's an 80 foot per second spread on one product, and once again, no bolt weight rides along with the headline speed, so I can't hand you a verified energy figure. What I can tell you is that of the two 420 claiming crossbows, this is the one with the documented power stroke and the transparent cocking math. There's also a magazine version that holds 5 bolts if you want repeat shots. Depending on configuration, the BAT Reverse typically sells in the $350 to $500 range. And at number 1 is my favorite, the EK Archery Cobra RX Adder. Not because it claims the biggest numbers, but because it delivers the most power it can actually prove. And that's the entire point of this video. Straight from EK Archery's own specifications, a 130-pound draw weight, 240 feet per second, with a 205 grain bolt, a 7.5-inch power stroke, an overall length of 21.5 inches, and a weight of 5.2 pounds. Speed and bolt weight published together by the manufacturer. Run the numbers and the RX Adder produces roughly 26.2 foot-pounds of energy, the highest verified figure on this list, and it's verified for one simple reason. EK gives you both halves of the equation. Compare that to the WT Mini Striker's claimed 25 foot-pound figure. On paper, they're practically neck and neck. The difference is that EK tells you exactly what bolt produced the result, while the Mini Striker leaves that part out. That's the difference between a specification and a sales pitch, and it's why one finished at number 1 and the other finished at number 4. The Adder is also a genuinely impressive platform. It uses a 7-bolt top-loading magazine, an underlever cocking system that makes rapid follow-up shots surprisingly easy, and a mechanism that prevents you from cocking the bow on an empty magazine. The platform also accepts higher poundage limbs, breaks down easily for transport, and depending on configuration, usually sells somewhere in the $350 to $600 range. So here's what you walk away with. Next time a mini crossbow listing leads with a giant draw weight or a screaming speed number, do 2 things. Find the power stroke. If they don't publish it, find the bolt weight behind that speed. If they won't give you either one, you're not looking at a spec sheet, you're looking at an ad, and you should price it like one. That 5-second test sorted this entire list. The crossbows that published real numbers published modest ones. The ones screaming 420 feet per second wouldn't tell you the one number you'd need to check them. And the most powerful one you can actually verify still makes a third of what a starter hunting crossbow makes off the same draw weight. If this changed how you read a product page, that's the whole reason it exists. Tell me in the comments which of these you're running. And if you've ever put one across a chronograph, I really want to know how close the real number landed to the box. And if there's a category you want me to take apart like this next, drop it below and I'll go do the reading. See you in the next one.